So I've been riding since I was about 8 years old and grew up sort of riding enduros in the late 80s, which for me is kind of what I pined for and something that just doesn't exist today. I've ridden competitively since around 1988, 89. And really grown up in that enduro scene, which has changed a lot over the course of the last 20 years. I just don't find there's a lot of challenge in cross country or sprint racing, and for me it's really about the technical side of hard enduro that appeals to me.
Most of the terrain that you ride in your typical enduro racing scenarios these days is too easy, and myself and a lot of other people are looking for more out of their riding, so we start looking to hard enduro. Hard enduro really is the pinnacle of riding, so for me it really represents the ultimate physical and mental challenge to put yourself and your bike into the most difficult possible terrain and really test yourself and push yourself to the limits, and that's what it's all about.
So hard enduro is really something that's popped up in the last 5 to 10 years, and it's really designed to almost be an impossible course to complete. So it relies on not only physical fitness, but also having a mechanical ability or a mechanical sympathy to make sure that you can actually get your bike through some really, really rough terrain.
When you start looking to hard enduro, of course you start looking towards the more and more challenging races, and of course ever since hard enduro was born, everybody has really looked up to the whole Romaniacs thing, and I guess it's hard enduro folklore, and really I want to be part of it. I want to see what it's all about, and I want to experience it for myself. I'm not getting any younger, so you've got to get this stuff done while you can.
Yeah, so Red Bull Romaniacs it's a pretty extreme race, and I think most of the reason for me wanting to get involved for a second time is that there's just nothing quite like it here in Australia. Around about 5 years ago, I think we really started to see a lot of broadcasting of some of the hard enduro events, and Romaniacs really caught my eye. It was billed, and is still billed, as one of the toughest enduros on the planet. And for me, you know, you always want to look for that next step, and what could you do that could be a bit harder. So it was about 5 years ago that I firmly cemented in my mind a goal of getting to that event, and it wasn't until 2014 that I actually made that a reality. And it was a bit of a bucket list thing for me. I turned 40 that year, and it was a present to myself to go and put myself against the world's best, and we made it happen. Something happens in the mountains, in the Carpathians. It's riding like nothing else I've ever done before. And it kind of sucks you in and draws you back, and you start thinking about, well, maybe, you know, now I've experienced it, you know, could I do a little bit better? So that's the plan for going back this year.
Life and riding is difficult. You know, I've got 2 children, 10-year-old and a 4-year-old. I have a career, so I'm juggling that, and then manage to fit riding in as well, which is really hard to juggle when there's actually 4 in the family who ride.
Both my wife Amber and I, we've always ridden, but when you have a really serious event like this, we've invested a whole lot of money. It's very expensive to take the entire family over to Europe for a month or so. The logistics leading up to it, the training leading up to it, it's just absolutely all-consuming. That must be a road along the way up there.
Obviously, undertaking a race on the other side of the planet requires not only a lot of effort in the preparation, but also logistics. For me, you know, the physical aspect around preparing not only yourself but your bike ready for the conditions that you're going to face over there is a pretty big time commitment. And you know, it's not like we do this full time. So trying to find the time to commit to a training program for the physical fitness side of things, but also the ride time involved in the lead up is quite a big commitment in itself. So out every weekend, trying to hone the skills and get my body ready.
Trying to find alphabetical stuff by the second word.
Your back wheel here, right, and getting ready and getting a run onto it from there so that you can actually carry some momentum over those rocks and get up onto the grade.
The transition to hard enduro is sometimes a difficult one. It incorporates a whole bunch of different skills that the average trail rider may or may not have.
It's all part of the appeal. The greater the risk, the greater the challenge, the greater reward when you pull it off.
Let's face it, there's a lot of practice that goes on and sometimes you get it wrong.
The harder it is, I don't know, weirdly enough, the more I like it. Like, there's a lot of people that absolutely hate that aspect and they don't like to be pushed outside of their comfort zone in riding dirt bikes, and you know, that's all good. But I've never been like that.
Doing well, 10 seconds, good work. Give me 10 seconds, come on, 10 seconds to get the next reading, let's go.
So for my second attempt at Romaniacs, I've adjusted my training program a little bit based on the experience that I had the first time around. This isn't an event that you can just turn up to and ride. You really do need to make sure that you have your preparation sorted out. Trying to maximise the quality that I get out of my training, so I've sought some professional advice to really put some science behind that.
It's an enormously challenging situation just to actually get there and do the race. It is just countless hours. It is so much time goes into making something like this happen. We have spent every bit of time, effort, sweat, tears and money we possibly can on making this dream come true. We've sacrificed virtually every other aspect of our life in order to make this happen, so it's extremely important.
It's good to, you know, represent women in such a hard discipline, which is very much male orientated, and especially hard enduro, very male orientated. And just personally, it's just the next step for me. Like, I've been practicing this, training for this for the last 4 years. I want to finish.
For us, heading overseas and doing Romaniacs is a lifelong dream, and it's something that we'd really like to share together. It's the Mecca. It really is the greatest challenge that you can face. We've thrown everything at this. We've thrown our entire life. We've thrown our entire life savings. We've thrown everything at this. So it is an enormous achievement to finish.
I just think it's so cool that there's an event like Romaniacs that lets me get back to the sport that I really know and love. Ultimately, I know what I'm getting myself in for, whereas last time around, it was the great unknown. But ultimately, you know, the goal still remains the same. A finish is really what I want to achieve. If I can better my result from 2014, then I'd be absolutely stoked with that. But yeah, if I can get to the Red Bull Arch on day 4, then that's a massive win for me.